Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion, and this is what I call the crazy troll nation of YouTube. This is not chapstick, this is Tillamook mint chocolate chip ice cream scented and flavored lip balm that was gifted to me by a dear friend, and I do love it as much as chapstick. Feels the same, it does. A little more shiny, so if you're wanting a glossy type look, Tillamook got you. So today, the crazy for today, I almost forgot my intro. Let me know if you say the intro with me, because some of you have been here for quite a while, and I'm sure you know it. For those of you who don't know it, or if you're new here, or if you just like to hear it, there was a time when I stopped saying it because I felt redundant saying it in every video, and quite a few of you were like, we miss it, we like hearing it, tell us how awesome we are. Not in those words, but it was like, we missed the intro, because they said it was a good reminder. So here's the intro. The crazy troll nation is, the crazy part is just being yourself and knowing it's okay to be yourself regardless of how you are. If you've been here, you've seen me in serious moods, goofy, headache, you know, my legs are cramping up, I'm in pain, there's times when I'm serious. Whatever it is, whatever's going on with me, that's really my life. And so just being here and knowing it's okay to just be yourself regardless of whatever is going on, regardless of how you feel. Just do what you love to do. And I love makeup. So that's the crazy part. It's just accepting who and how you are on whatever given day, whatever moment, whatever is happening in your life or in the lives of those that you love and care about. The troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. Try not to feel like you need to use a certain brand or a certain tool or a certain technique. Wear whatever you want to wear, apply it however you want to get your makeup on in a way that you are satisfied with it. You set the standard for yourself. Here at the Crazy Troll Nation, we are about self-acceptance and self-love, embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but never feeling like you have to. Love yourself for who you are and for how you look, even without face paint on. That is what the Crazy Troll Nation stands for. I do curse on my channel sometimes because I do curse in real life sometimes. I do try to catch myself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So now you know if you didn't know already. So this video, I am enjoying this series, and I've been thinking if I want to do other series like this, like just do eyeshadows from just one brand like per month or something like that. And I don't have a lot of brands, but it would really, it's motivating to know and encouraging and easy to know this is what I'm using this day. And because I only have 2 pat bronzers, I'm down to 2 pat blushes, 5 glosses, 7 palettes, well, motherships, 1 foundation, 1 primer. Is like, I know what I'm wearing that day. You know what I mean? And so it's easy, and it's easy for the description box. It's easy for the flat lay information on Instagram. And it takes a lot of the guessing out of just sitting at the station, your makeup station, and like, okay, what am I going to use today? What blush do I want to use today? Do I want to use that bronzer? Oh, no, and I only have 1 pat highlighter. So there's no guessing. It's just like, you know, and so it's enjoyable to just already know these are my options. There's only a handful. Pick 1 of the 2 bronzers or 1 of the 2 blushes. And just put stuff on. The only thing that's work, and it's not even a hard thing, it's just figuring out what shadows are going to go where. And speaking of shadows, today we're going to use Moonlit Seduction. And this is what that looks like. This is the chunkiest monkey of them all. And the trick to this for me to get it to work is using a sponge tip applicator, leaving the chunks on the sponge tip, putting it on my, I'll do here because there's no makeup here, putting the sponge tip there with the chunk and then just smearing it. And that's what blends out the shadow. And so that's how I've learned to work with this. The Chunky Monkey Celestial shades in general, sometimes I will tap off and some of the chunks will fall off, so then I got to go back in and put it on. But this one specifically, because of the texture of it, and even looking in it, it looks like a rocky road. How these 4 Celestial shades, but you see how this looks like it would be flaky as far as glitter bukkake, as Teresa would say. So does this one. This one looks smooth. You look at this one, look how chunky that looks. Like it's very textured, but that's also what gives it the shine that it has. And it is very beautiful. And it's a dual chrome. So you see it's red and then you see it's green. Yeah, so I'm gonna do a look. I don't think I'm gonna like it towards the inner corner part, and if I don't, we'll just cover it up, because here we also just do things. We try new things and we just see what happens, and if we don't like it, we try to make it work, and if it doesn't, then we know to never ever do that again. But if we're able to tweak it and make it work, then we've learned something. We just don't give up on a look here. We don't just be like, oh, that don't look right, and just, you know, wipe the whole thing off and start over. No, we're going to see it through. We're going to put in our best effort and just do the look. And I'm saying all of this to encourage you to just play in your makeup. And I mean, unless you're going to work and you have 10 minutes, okay, you need to put on something you know that's going to look right. But if you have time to just sit and play, or you have an hour left before you need to leave for work, just play and just figure stuff out, you know what I mean? So the first thing we're gonna take is Extreme Nocturne, this shade down here, and still going outer, inward, dark to light. I am wondering if moving forward, not this series, or maybe, we'll see what happens, if I'm going to just only use this technique or switch up and sometimes still go lighter to dark. And I think it may depend on what palette that I'm using, because in the motherships and in most palettes, there is a gradient of shades, where there's dark shades, light shades, warm tones, cool tones, neutral tones. But I'm thinking of the Mothman palette. There's only 2 mattes in that palette, so it wouldn't be anything to put over here, even though 2 of the shades in there do look like mattes on me once I blend them out. And so I think the technique I use will depend on, I'm using the tip of the brush to just start our blend right here. I think it would depend on the pattern, the palette that I'm using and what shades I'm using, that will determine what technique that I use. Because I really do like the inward to outward, the light to dark, but I'm finding I'm liking this equal. I'm enjoying this as much as I do the other technique, and maybe because it's still new, and the other technique, inward outward light to dark, that was just like, you know, my go-to. It was what I did. I sat down, this is what we're going to do, where this is teaching me something new, and I'm glad I stuck with it, because it is, I do think it's nice, and I think it's interesting to just learn different techniques, because it gives you options on what type of look you want to do, or how you want to do your makeup that day. And for me, it's exciting just trying new things, and it's even more exciting when it turns out nice, because I'm like, oh, that really worked, versus I ain't never doing that again. And so I do a lot of experiments here, because it is fun just trying new things and seeing how things turn out, because it is just makeup, you know. So just have fun with what you're doing with your makeup. So we're going to put that brush down, and we're going to go into Rosewood Romantique, this shade. I'm not particular about this shade, and maybe because, I mean, this is like a neutral cool tone palette, and this is just more cool tone than I prefer. But for what the palette is, I forgot this was that pink. For what the palette is, it works. And if it doesn't, just layer it with something else. And I have done that before. My initial thoughts with this palette, if I remember, I'll link it below. I did, I think, 5 looks with this palette when I first got it, because I wasn't sure about it, because I like dark, I like smoky, I like messy grunge, I like swamp water looks, and this is none of that. And so I was like, am I really gonna like it? Pat's website had a sale, and I'm like, you know what? I kept waiting to see if the feeling was going to pass, because sometimes I do just want something different. Even though what I prefer is what I prefer, there's times that I'm like, you know, just having something different, just like trying a different technique or a different formula, you know, just trying something new just to really see, you know, how you're going to feel about it. And doing those looks, I was disappointed because it was either this shade or this one, and I layered one of these on it, and then I put like just this one on the lid, and it looked exactly the same. And I'm like, why did I put the work in to layer it and it looks the same as if I didn't layer it? And so that was disappointing. And this ranked at the bottom when I did my Path McGrath ranking video. If I remember, I'll link that below too. So I need to make mental notes that when I'm editing to listen to what I'm saying so I can make sure I link these videos. This ranked at the bottom because it didn't have much versatility for me. It wasn't until I think the last 2 looks I did, and not even in that video, that I was like, okay, this is my vibe. And I did a series, not a series, well, it was an experiment, trying to grunge out and smoke out the Pat McGrath Motherships, like doing looks that most people don't do with the Motherships. And the look I did with this, I'm like, yeah, this fucking rocks. And what it took for me was to appreciate the palette for what it is, and to stop wanting it to be darker, smokier, grungy, swamp water, because it's not that. And so it taught me, I think this is my 8th look with this palette. It took me to maybe, I think, the 6th or 7th look to just appreciate it for what it is and to not want it to be something different. And once I accepted that, I started liking the palette. It's still not my go-to, but I don't mind it. I still prefer, you know, the other types of looks, but for what it is a really nice palette. And it is different than Divine Rose 1, Divine Rose 2, Utopian Dream. I didn't get any of those because I'm not a pink mauve-ish person, even though there's quite a few in here. But I'm just like, to me, all those 3 look the same. And people say there's differences. One is cooler tone, one is warm tone. And I'm just like, to me, to my eye, they just look the same. And I'm like, I'm not buying that. And I didn't. So that's why I have 1 through 6, which to me are distinct. And then this one, which is distinct from those. So now we're going to take VR Sextasy. This textured chunky monkey over here. It looks like Rocky Road. Like, just look at that texture. Woo. Okay, so we're going... This is an Amazon sponge tip applicator. This has been a game changer for me with the celestial shades. And I use them for regular shimmers too, sometimes if they're textured. So this is it, and you can see, well, I don't know, yeah, you can see how it's lifting off of the sponge tip, particularly on the inside here. That's, if I tapped it off, it would fall off. But with this, you have to put it on and smear it, and you can still see the texture. So you just have to keep smearing it to get it to blend. But when it does, though, that is a beautiful shade. And it was a learning curve for me. You will get fallout with it, even with a sponge tip. Now you see that. Now once it's there and you smooth out the chunks, it's very easy to blend. Like, you just keep going with it. And there's just a tiny bit left on here, but it's still enough to get it on my lid. Like, you see this? Do you see this? So get that huge chunk on there and just blend it out. And the texture, it doesn't look textured anymore. These sponge tips, y'all, people say you have to use your fingers. I'm like, tell me I need to use my finger to get this. Y'all see I didn't. So just use whatever you want to use, however you want to use it to get your makeup on in the way that you are satisfied with it. My intro is the way it is for a reason. And it was things that I learned over time. And I'm thinking, how many other people felt the same way I did? Right now I'm trying to pick up chunks. And you see the flakes. You see the flakes. Ooh. And I gotta get it on, otherwise it'll just fall out on my face. Ooh, it fell off of my eyelash. And when I went like this, the chunk fell off on my cloth. And I picked it up. That's the chunk that fell off. So we're gonna put that there. Y'all, it is a learning experience. But once you get on, that is just tripping me out, how that whole chunk just fell. Oh, I just smeared it right there. Just chunked in my eyelash and fell off, and I had the nerve to pick it up and put it on. So yeah, I was having those thoughts and those feelings, and I was like, how many other people probably feel the same way? And so when I was thinking of my intro, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to say what I learned. And it turned out, you know, I wasn't the only one that was feeling that way. So it's a good thing. And embracing yourself and not feeling like you have to do things that other people do or the big YouTubers do. We're going to go back to the brush that had Rosewood Romantique, because this side I took way over. Okay, let me make sure this is smoothed out first. I took that side further over, so I'm actually going to dip back into Rosewood Romantique, and we're just going to tap it. We're not going to do the back and forth except over here on the edge, because I did like the blend that I had. That's nice. I did like the blend that I had going on over there. And because we added more on this side, we're going to just tap, and we're going to just lightly blend where this and the outer corner shade meet. But we're just going to tap right here. We're not going to go back and forth over this shade. This, I'm liking the gradient. I'm not liking how there's like a gap right here, but I really don't know what to do about it except maybe try to blend it. I tapped in very lightly, and we're just going to tap right there, which is just making it look more like more of a gap. So we're going to take the sponge tip again, and we're not adding anything to it right now, so we're just going to just press just to get it up here so that there's not a gap. Now we're going to go back to the brush with Rosewood Romantique and just tap right here. And when you're trying new things, just take your time. Go back and forth if you need to. I think everybody does it, even if they don't tell you that they do, because you may not get it on the first time. This is where I don't think it's going to look right. I feel flakes on my nose. We're going to take Astral Lilac Aura, this shade here for our inner corner, and I don't think it's going to look right next to this one, but we're going to see what it does. I do think this one will look better, because even though this is green and then it's this reddish color, I think that would play off of this. But we're going to put this on just to see, and because I wrote my notes that way, and then I looked at it like that ain't going to look right, but we're going to see. So we're taking a sponge tip, because this is kind of chunky too. We are tapping off, and we're going to put that right here. And, oh, you know what? Even though VR Ecstasy is, I don't know if it's a dual chrome or a multi-chrome, but this makes it look like a multi-chrome, like putting that on the inner corner. You see that? So you definitely see the lilac here, but the way it's blending in and how the color gradient goes over into VR Ecstasy, I like that. That is different, and I like it. So I don't remember which side of the brush I just used for that shade. So we're going to flip it over and use this side that has nothing on it and go into Astral Lilac Aura. This is interesting. And this is why I just try things. Even though I really thought it wasn't going to look right, it does. And so I've learned that this works with that. So that's just right there. That is it. Wow. All right, we've used all four sides of this, so this is going to go in the makeup trash. We are going to put the black on our lower lash line. I have decided when this is done, I'm not going to purchase a full size one, because I do prefer retractables. And I prefer, you know, having more than just a black, even though when I put other stuff on top of it, it either enhances the shadow that's on top of it, or it just kind of eats it. So it's like whatever you do, like just, I don't know, what am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I find certain eyeliners underneath do enhance the shade I put on top of it, and some it doesn't. Some it makes it just look darker if I'm using a black or like a gray. But for most, it seems to just enhance the color of what I'm using. And it may just be the shade of the eyeliner that I'm using. But we're going to see what this does with the shades we're going to put under here. Okay. Okay, so that is it for that. We're not putting this on waterline because of what happened in yesterday's look. So we're taking a smudger brush, a short dense smudger brush, and we're going to take, what are we taking? Wait a minute, Platinum Dusk, really? Like I didn't write the notes. This is Platinum Dusk. That's going to go on the first half of our lower lash line. I write stuff down, and then when I look at it, and I do look at it 2 or 3 times when I'm trying to do the look, well, when I'm planning out what shades I'll go wear. But then I sit here and I look at the palette and I'm like, what? It's like, who wrote this? Oh, me. Hey, y'all wrote it. So that's there. I'll be cracking myself up. I do want something here because there's this extra space here. And I'm thinking I can take Rosewood Romantique and just put that sort of in that area, like lightly, because I don't want it to be too dark up there. But I don't want to take this shade because this is super bright. So I don't want something this light in this entire area because that'll just highlight the puffiness that I have. And Rosewood Romantique, because it's pinkish, I'm like, I don't know what that's going to look there. But we're going to take it up just a little bit higher and we're going to find out what it's going to look like there. That is what we're going to do because we just do stuff here. Someone sent this to me and I'm going to show it to you again because it just popped into my mind. Progress, not perfection. And I've said before that this is not a channel of perfection. We just get stuff done. And that's part of what we're doing. We're just trying new things and we're getting the look done. Even if we're not sure of how it's going to turn out, we're just going to do it and we're going to find out how it's going to turn out. So we're going to take this brush and go into Plum Cabaret, which is this shade. And I'm not really a fan of this tone of a shade either, but it serves a purpose. And as I said, once I've learned to just accept the palette for what it is, I do really enjoy it. So this is what I'm saying. You see some of the red, the black is not eating it. I don't even, can you see the red? It's turning like a lavenderish something or other, I guess. And this is a learning experience too, especially if you're using different eyeliners and you're covering them with a shadow. It's like, okay, what is the shadow going to look like over that liner? You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not really seeing too much of that. I use my viewfinder as a mirror, which is kind of ridiculous because I have a mirror down here and a handheld over there. But for some reason, it's just easier just to look here. So forgive me if me looking bug-eyed is freaking you out. Because that's something that actually freaks me out when people are like, and I'm just like, ugh, like, don't do that. I do like it. You can, yeah, the black made Plum Cabaret smoky. That's what it did. And I like it. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. Just try stuff. So we're going to take the brush that had Rosewood Romantique and we're going to tap into it lightly. This is a powdery shade and you can see around it, maybe you can, yeah, where the powder is. And we're going to just tap here. And we are tapping over top of that outer corner shade, which was Extreme Nocturne. So we're just bringing it up lightly, just a little bit. I like that. Tapping lightly, which was just like barely tapping it in. And we're going to put that here and tap over. And we're only going to come to right here. Okay. But now this looks blank. So we're going to just tap. I didn't add anything else. We're just going to tap. Yeah, that's perfect. Because I wanted just a little bit. So we're tap, tap very lightly, and we're tapping off. And then we're just lightly tapping. Yeah, this is nice. Tapping again, 1, 2, tapping off. And we're just tapping very lightly. And that's all. So we're not swiping, we're not blending, we're just tapping it. And I really do like this. We are going to blend here. Just this corner piece. And we're going to blend right here. Just this corner. And that's going to be it. I like that. So that little subtle difference just right here where you don't see my skin. You know what it is too? The Fenty primer. I didn't realize, I think I noticed it, but I just dismissed it, how it does have a color to it. And I didn't notice it until Tanya from Tanya's Beauty Box, when she had purchased it, because that's my go-to primer and always talked about it. So she had wanted to try it. And she was saying how, you know, it does have like a pinkish tint to it. And I'm like, you know what, it really does. But because I put it on and blend it out, I just dismiss it. But I noticed since then that it really does. And so when I do first put it on, it does give like a pinkish kind of wannabe translucent hue to my eyelids. And so I think sometimes that's what I see up here, instead of it just being, my eyes are tearing, instead of it just being my skin, that's the color of that primer. And so thank you, Tanya, for saying that. And somebody else used it and they said the same thing. And I'm like, what? It's like you see something, but then you don't. There's a flake in my eyelash. You know what though? I have no flakes in my eyes. And I think it was the last couple looks, well, definitely the last look, that eyeliner flaked in my eye, the pencil liner. And I think it was another look I was doing when I did lower lash line, something flaked up into my eye. Nothing flaked in my eye this time. It is hot outside. My AC is bumping. There's a vent. Did I say a vent? Did I? There's a vent right above me. And it is blowing. And it makes my eyes tear sometimes. And so I do have my elbow on the table. Sometimes I do elbow on table when I do this side, and sometimes I don't. It depends on if there's stuff in the way of me putting my elbow on the table over here. But definitely this side, I've taken to putting my elbow on the table, and more so when I want to get as thin a line as possible. I am getting used to this felt tip. Still not my preference. I don't think I would repurchase it. But for the sake of this series, I will continue using it. I'm excited for the second half of this series. I don't know. I mean, I know what my plan is as far as the looks. I just don't know how they're going to turn out. Or if it's going to look like looks I've already done. You know what I mean? Just based on the colors I gravitate to. Because this first part was supposed to be ethereal looks. And I mean, yes, like the from here is ethereal, but then I've taken to putting a dark shade on the outer corner. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm nailing the ethereal part. But then ethereal doesn't need to be the entire eyelid, does it? If not, then I'm nailing it. But if ethereal is the whole entire eye look is just light and airy, then no, I'm not nailing it. But I can say though, I've really liked every look that I've done in this series so far. And so I am excited about the second part to the series, because it's me again doing something I've never done. And well, not never done, but I don't tend to do it. And so it's a challenge. It's going to be a challenge for me. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not liking this wing, and I feel like I'm just making it worse. So we're going to leave it. So this is that. I'm going to try something different too with the lip. But for right now, we're going to powder down, bronzer. I think I'm going to use Paradise Venus again. And so we're going to do that. Powder down. I don't have a lot of fallout. I see a few flakes, but it's really not a lot. But what we're going to do anyway is this little bit of dried up foundation. I'm just going to put this here. Very minimal fallout. Very minimal. Sponge tips, y'all. I'm telling you. People want to say you need this type of brush, that type of brush. Use your finger, wet your brush, whatever. Sponge tips. I'll try to remember to keep the link below to the ones that I use from Amazon. Temu does sell some too, but I prefer the Amazon ones better. And also, we're going to do mascara primer and the mascara. So we're going to do everything else with the face. We're going to come back. We're going to experiment with a lip combo. And then that'll be it for this video. So just hang tight. It'll just be a split second for you. So So much for that split second. Was it really just a split second? I'm pretty sure it was. So we're wiping off some of the Tillamook. And what we're going to try today, this is the McGrath liquid lipstick that I was going to declutter. And as I watched the video, which went live today, actually, today is June 6th, I believe. I kept hearing myself saying how this gloss is great over dark lip. This gloss is great over black lip. This color lipstick I do not like. But we're going to put a gloss on top of it and see what that does. Because otherwise, this I will not keep. This color is just not something I gravitate to at all. I have a red from NARS that I keep only because it's my only red. And there are times when someone will request a look with a red lip, and I'm like, eh. So that keeps me from needing to buy one. And it is a nice formula. It's just not my color aesthetic at all. Excuse me. And this doesn't even go with the look. It goes with my shirt, and I don't match my shirt with my clothes. Well, my shirt is my clothes. Troll, what are you talking about? So what I'm thinking is to take, I used this one yesterday. This is Astral Flash Dance. So we're not going to use that one. So I'm looking to see what I want to put over top of it. Oh gosh, this is Bronze Venus. That might be too light. I am just not feeling this lip color. We're going to put this, excuse me, on top of it. This is Astral Moonflower. We're just going to see what it's going to do. Because I do think this would go with the eye look. Not that I do the matchy. But we're going to see. Should I take a lipstick applicator? Yeah. So, lipstick applicator. Going to scoop. Oh. And that was not enough. I'm going to end up just using the applicator that came in here because enough doesn't come off. Damn it. Okay. Sorry if my elbow was hitting you in the face. So we're just going to use this and see if this can, it's not giving me what I want. So I'm going to wipe this on my cloth here. Now my cloth is looking crazy. And it's microfiber, so this will probably stain. So I wiped off as much as I could, and it's still some on there. That's okay. All that did was just make it brighter. Like the dual chrome aspect of this did not even come out. I'm gonna throw that lipstick away. Because then I was thinking too, like, okay, Mother McGrath, that's my only pat lipstick. But this just is not a color that I like. And I was hoping that putting something on top of it would make it be what I want. Now I kind of want to experiment and put this on top too. See, we are just doing stuff now. We're just going to take, this is Astral Flash Dance. But then if you gotta do this much stuff to make something work, it's just like, nope. It still kind of looks the same. So, yeah, that lipstick is going in the trash. And if I need a red, I would just use the NARS one. So, after my picture with this, my flat lay picture with that, that'll be the trash. This is our finished look. Let me know what you think. I am really liking this palette. I am loving the gradient across the lid. I'm loving how everything blends together. I'm loving how, what shade was that? Astral Lilac Aura, how it plays off of VR's Ecstasy. Because instead of it just looking like a dual chrome with the lilac here, to me it looks like a multi-chrome. I like how I put Rosewood Romantique, just tapped it up here so that it's not, you know, it wasn't just that blank space. And I'm digging the cheek. I've learned how to use Paradise Venus without it looking too dark or too much. And again, I just put it just right here and not how I usually do my blush all the way back. So I'm really digging it. And that'll be it for the video. Yeah, so let me know what you think. This is look number 8 with Moonlit Seduction that I learned to love. And I am glad that I did keep playing with it. I was intent to just keep trying it, and I'm glad I did. I do enjoy this palette. I do like this palette. It's not my favorite, but when I do looks with it, I really do like the looks. And I do like the lower lash line, the shades under there. The lip, hell no. And some of y'all are like, but it's so pretty. When I just look at the lip, if I just look at the lip, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cute. Still not my preferred aesthetic. I think it's too bright for the eye look. But it's just not a color I would use. And layering 2 different glosses on top of it, both being dual chromes, is just like, it still just looks the same. So I'm really gonna go. You will see me in the next video, which will be the beginning of part 2 of this series. Let me know how you're liking it so far. And as always, self-acceptance, self-love, that is the Crazy Troll Nation way. Thank you for being here. You will see me soon. And if you're not subscribed yet, you've made it this far, please do. And if you haven't clicked the thumbs up button, please click that as well. Feel free to leave comments. I do reply back to everybody. There's a lot of information below for you to see. And playlists will be below that are related to this look and just a bunch of stuff. So you will see me soon.